Bozeman. Hope you're all staying safe out there. So my name's Ryan Galloway. I'm doing the 30 seconds of STEM today. So a little bit about me and how I got into science is that I grew up near Seattle, didn't really know what I wanted to do, but thought that MSU looked cool because of skiing and they had a neat physics program and a lot of research. So I got my undergraduate in physics and then stuck around and got my master's degree in optics through MSU Spectrum Lab. They do a lot of really cool research with light and lasers and spectroscopy and all sorts of cool stuff. So I wrote my thesis on long-range coherent imaging, which is really similar to a type of technology that this other startup in Bozeman was doing, which was called LiDAR, or coherent LiDAR. That was Blackmore Sensors and Analytics. I ended up getting a job there as a research scientist doing essentially just trying to make their LiDAR better. And for those of you that aren't familiar with LiDAR, it's a lot, you can think of sending a pulse of light out into the world and then starting a stopwatch, and then when the light comes back you stop the stopwatch and you say how much time went by. And since we know the speed of light, we can calculate exactly how far away that object is. And then if you repeat that process over and over again in the world, you measure distances to things all around you, you can make a 3D map. And if you do this fast enough, say like at camera speeds, you can make a 3D movie map. So anyway, that's what Blackmore did, and that's what I was working on for about 2 years before Blackmore was acquired by a company called Aurora Innovation, who does self-driving vehicles or autonomous vehicles using the same technology that I was working on at Blackmore. So the LiDAR is often called the eyes of the autonomous vehicle because it's a 3D map of the world that the computer can, register, say, oh, I think that's a car, I should watch out for that, or I think it's a pedestrian, I should probably watch out for that pedestrian. So the LiDAR is the eyes of the computer, making the decisions, helping the car go down the road safely. So that's what I do now. I'm an optical designer for Aurora, and how I use science in my job is typically we'll come up with some idea on how to make the system better. So then we design an experiment that isolates just system performance or just the variable we're thinking about. We run that experiment to see if it verifies our hypothesis that we want to make the system better. And then if it does make the system better, I work with the other engineers to turn that idea into a more concrete implementation in the sensor that makes the sensor actually better and perform better. So that's how I use it in my job. Let's see. I also use science in my daily life quite often. I hopped on the sourdough bandwagon like a lot of people have during shelter in place. So what happened is I tried to make my own sourdough loaf and it pretty much turned out awful. Like it was really bad. Just totally flat, no air. And after some research, I figured out that it was probably my starter. It was not a very good starter. So a friend of mine gave me some of her starter, and I kept all the ingredients the same, I baked it for the same amount of time, did everything the same except had a new starter, and my loaf turned out way better. So, scientific method, I was able to isolate one variable and say with confidence that that was my issue, is I had bad starter. So, people probably use the scientific method all the time, they don't even know it. So I think I was also supposed to give some advice to people trying to get into STEM or into science, and just be curious. Look around the world, and if you see something acting weird or something you don't understand, look into it. Honestly, just Wikipedia it, and you'll go down a rabbit hole and learn some things you never thought you'd learn. So that's some fun things to do in quarantine, and I hope everyone's staying safe and feeling healthy, and good luck, and I'll see you at the Science Center when we reopen. So, thanks. Bye.